Hey guys, and welcome back to the Mr. Splash workshop. Thank you for returning. Today we're going to be dissecting a Tornado aircraft AFDS unit. This device here. So without further ado, let's drag it onto the bench. So there she is, an AFDS unit. So what we want to be able to do is have a look inside this. So let's have a look. First of all, let's look at the front. Oh, it's got some pneumotron indicators. It's got throttle push button, illuminated push buttons, momentary switch, and lots of illuminated push buttons that the pilot would have selected for flying the aircraft automatically via various things. It can control the throttle, control whether it's approaching a runway somewhere, tracking for a particular target, or heading a particular direction they want to travel in. The system could automatically control the speed, the Mach, the altitude of the aircraft, and the radar homing, as they call it, where it would home in on a radar target or a marker. They also have the ability to have terrain following, which is where the radar will not only show the pilot hills and mountains and things like that, obstacles. The aircraft will automatically track those so it doesn't collide automatically into a mountain or any other object. It will actually follow the terrain over and up and down over the terrain. And with that there's a switch which is marked soft, medium and hard, which is the ride. So that means how quick it responds to the terrain following, whether it's a slow up and down over the mountains and things, or medium, or very hard where it actually follows the contour very violently, not violently but strict, very strict. There's a few other things I'm not 100% on though. You've got flight directed, go or no go, the autopilot, go or no go, push to test. There should be a door that goes on here actually, but the door hinge was broken when I got it, so I leave it off because I like to see these anyway, but this area is normally covered up. You've got computer 1, computer 2 and various other things. They've also got the clearance here, the radar. When you're on terrain following radar, it flies at a height above the terrain, which is the ground obviously, or the ground below, so you can set that height to, or altitude to, whatever you want it to be, 300 foot, 250 foot, 200 foot, whatever you want it to be, whatever the pilot wants it to be, right up to 1500 feet. And it's got a ready indicator, which I can only assume means that everything's okay with the computers and it's seeing the terrain, everything's okay. So yeah, quite a nice piece of kit. What I want to be able to do with this is cannibalise the inside of it to the point where I wire up all the lamps on this to have them all lit up, and hopefully the display as well, and this lamp as well, just so it looks pretty as a kind of ornament, if you like, but like a live ornament. So yeah, quite interesting. It's a nice looking piece of kit. So what we'll try and do now is take the front off and have a look inside it so that we can see some of the goodies within. Okay, so let's start ripping it apart. I've already undone a couple of screws to start with to make life a little easier. So here we go. These are screws which don't come out all of the way, so you don't lose them, they stay in the upper part. We've also loosened the knob in advance as well. Take that off. And we take the front fascia off, if we can. of interesting information on the back. 1996. Must be the company who made it in England. 1096. Ah, okay. So there we are. We're into the main part here, or rather the front, I should say, without the fascia. Right now, what you can do is remove these because they have bulbs inside them as well. So there's the bulbs there, and they can be removed for replacement purposes, obviously. So you must use 2 lamps, it says. So there we have it. Nice and easy to replace, and I think this one is the same as well. You just unscrew it and drop the cap on the floor. So again, there's a lamp inside here which you can remove. You have to use a special plastic cover which fits over the bulb. You can use some sleeving to push over the bulb and then pop the bulb out and replace it. The green cover. Green cover. Okay, so that's the front fascia. Oh, and the other one is the little Numitron displays. These are nice. There you can see them. I'll take one of them out to show you. They're plugged in. These are beautiful displays. You can make clocks out of them. And each segment, there are 7 segment display, and each segment is made up of a filament like a bulb. So when you put a voltage on them, they light up. And they're usually rated about 5-volt filaments. So yeah, very nice. Let's put that back for safekeeping. There we go. Right, so let's have a look at the back. There we go. Marconi, very good, with these military connectors on the back. Again, I've taken some of the screws off anyway, ready to make it easier for the video, or rather I've slackened them off. So let's open the remaining 2, that one and this one, and then let's slide the back off. And as you can see, one's still catching. Or 2, or even 3, still catching. There we are, look at that. There we go. Really very well made. Typical military standard stuff. Really very well made, amazing. Look at that, work of art. So these are all the necessary current limiting resistors for the bulbs on the backs of each switch. So it looks like they've actually colour coded them to be the bulbs using what looks like the brown connections, and the switch contacts are using the red. That's how it looks. I'm not 100% sure about that. That's how it looks. And in that case you have 2 groups of connectors, one for this is for the switch contacts, this one presumably for the lamps, and this one not sure what that's for, maybe for some other function like the selector switch on the front maybe. So that's it really. So one of the things I'd like to take out is the board at the back there, which holds the displays, the 3-digit displays. So what I'll do is I'll bring you back when I've removed that. So just hang on a second and we'll rip it out for you. With the magic of photography, we've taken the board out. So there's the board, the display board. There we go. With all its wires attached. So what I'm going to do is take one of these out and show you how you can connect the filaments up. This is just a demonstration for yourselves. So it'll be quite interesting to see. I'm going to put just a couple of volts on first and I'll wind it up. There you go, we've got 2 lit up. Let's turn that voltage up a bit. Is it going to light up? There we go. 5 volts, there we go. Isn't that beautiful? The individual segments or multiple segments. Let's try different connections. There you go. Fantastic. So you can make clocks with these. These particular ones, the avionic ones, are very, very expensive. If you look these up on the internet and you try to buy them brand new, they're very expensive. So these ones, sometimes you get them and they've actually got segments failed on them. But as luck has it, these three are still 100% intact. But I did make a clock out of some of these not that long ago. And because of their age, unfortunately, as a clock, the segments failed slowly over a period of months because of their age, and probably because they've been knocked about in transit. So that was a bit of a shame. So I wouldn't make another clock with them unless I could get replacements cheap, because it just isn't worth it. That's why with this one I'm just going to make them light up just with a number, and I don't care if they fail, because the main thing is to have the illuminated push buttons lit up just for show. So I'm going to try and remove one of these switches for you and try and light them up. So just hold fire a second and I'll take one out. Well, there we have it. It was much easier to connect to the switch whilst it was still in situ rather than taking the whole thing out. But it's quite nice. That's there's two lamps in there, so if one fails, the pilot still can see what's going on. But yeah, nice. I'm not sure with the go no go. I have a feeling they have two different colours in them, so we're going to try and connect them up for you now. See what happens. We have it. Autopilot go and no go lit together. There we are. Look at that. Let's put the front on. See how it looks with the front on. There you go. Oh, it's gone off on us. Let's sort that out. So this is the Pneumatron panel, 3 Pneumatrons fitted. They're all hardwired up now to display 250, which is weird airspeed of 250 knots. And they're wired up to this buck converter here, which I've preset for 4 volts, which is the rating of the filaments on these Pneumatrons if you look them up on the data sheet. And this buck converter is powered from 12 volts, which is the main input. And here's the display illuminated. Ta-da! Beautiful. And that's going to sit just there in the panel. So let's move on. Okay guys, here we are. I've stripped out all the switches and the indicators here, as you can see. And there's the bulbs in the back. And so I've also stripped off all the wiring, made them ready for connecting up wires to. So the next step now is to put them back in the frame and fit the lamps back into them as well, flip it over and then wire up all the switches. That'll be the next final stage, I suppose, really. The indicator unit as well with those numerical displays. I want to wire them up to display a number. I'm not sure what yet, I'll have to figure that out. And there's the when we can see it, the green light, which goes back down there. So there we go, there we have it. All the everything's been prepared for soldering, marked out where they belong so they can all go back where they came from. So I think the next step now, like I say, is get them all back, get these back into there, the lamps back in there, flip it over and wire all the lights up. So that'll be the next step. So there we go. So let's see how that turns out. There we have it guys, all finished and ready for assembly. Well guys, thank you very much for watching my channel. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please stay tuned and look out for more of my videos on miscellaneous things, technical things, etc. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you. Bye bye.